Welcome to Mysteries in the Dark. I am your host, Luna Sparks, and I am here in the studio with my co-host, Omar Trekker. In this episode is our very first Prairie Paths and Urban Pasts episode, everyone. Today, Omar and I are taking a deep dive into a really unique slice of American history, specifically focusing on a place that might surprise you with its pioneering spirit when it comes to getting around. We're talking about Alton, Illinois, often called the Bluff City.
That's right, Luna. When you think of hilly cities, your mind probably jumps straight to San Francisco, right? But Alton, Illinois, nestled right on the Mississippi River, holds a surprising second place for being one of the hilliest cities in the U.S. And it's this very topography that makes its public transportation story so utterly fascinating and, frankly, a bit of a challenge from the get-go.
Absolutely. Just picture it, 25 miles north of St. Louis, a prime location for a steamboat landing. Rufus Easton, a land speculator, saw the potential way back in 1818, naming it after one of his sons. By the 1830s, it was booming, a busy river port, and even home to Illinois' first state penitentiary by 1833. It wasn't just growing, it was thriving. But with growth comes the need to move people.
Exactly. And this is where our story really kicks off, with the horse car era. You've got Alton, and then you've got Upper Alton, founded even earlier in 1816 by Joseph Meachin, and they're both expanding. Connecting these two, especially with Alton being so famously hilly, was a significant undertaking. Enter Cyrus Edwards, who in 1867 had this vision of public transit and organized the Alton and Upper Alton Horse and Carrying Company, or ANUAANCC for short. Try saying that 5 times fast.
I'll stick to the acronym, thanks. But it's wild to think about the ambition. They raised almost all of the $37,000 needed, which was a huge sum back then, by June of that year. Then they hired the city engineer to survey the route. Think about the planning involved, deciding exactly how a horse-drawn system would navigate those steep inclines.
And the sheer logistics. Grading work started in July 1867, and then track construction began in September. The rails themselves were coming all the way from Fort Pitt Iron Works in Pittsburgh. Imagine the supply chain for that. And by December 5th, regular hourly horse car service was running in Alton, extended to Upper Alton just 8 days later. That's an impressive turnaround for the 1860s.
It really is. And they even had a side switch at the Upper Alton station so horse cars could pass each other. That's a level of sophistication we sometimes forget was present in these early systems. They also built a car barn in Upper Alton on Manning Street, and get this, the mules were kept in the basement. I can just picture the smell, and the sounds. Very practical, but also kind of quirky.
Quirky is a good word for it. By January 1868, service was extended to Alton City Hall, making 15 trips a day, every 45 minutes. That's a pretty consistent schedule for a horse-powered system, showing how essential it had become. The route was quite comprehensive, going from City Hall, past Illinois Glass, and then up the hill on Garden and Manning, all the way to Merchant Street in Upper Alton. They even extended it to Shirtliff College later that year.
It sounds like a real success story initially, right? 2 open cars, 4 closed ones, 24 horses in 1869. But then, a classic problem for public transit passenger traffic got so poor that they had to discontinue service early in 1869. It didn't resume until October 1873. That must have been a real blow to the community and the company.
It definitely shows the inherent volatility of these early ventures. Public transportation isn't just about building the infrastructure, it's about sustained ridership and financial viability. Even with Alton's population nearing 9,000 by 1880, and the company operating 2.75 miles of track by 1886, there were always these ups and downs, but the spirit of improvement, it seems, never truly died.
No, it didn't, because just a year later in 1887, the Alton Improvement Association, or AIA, was organized, specifically to extend service to the Middletown area of Alton. This sounds like local residents saying, "We need more! We believe in this!" And their approach to the terrain was just incredible.
Oh, it absolutely was. William Huskinson directed this new line, which started construction in March 1888. It went uphill, zigzagging over various unimproved streets. And here's the kicker: because the unpaved streets were so steep, they had to lay planks between the rails so the horses could get traction. Can you imagine?
That's ingenuity right there. That's a true testament to the challenge of Alton's landscape. It wasn't just about laying track. It was about engineering solutions for incredibly difficult conditions. And they even brought in 2 Pullman-built horse cars for this new line, with a new car barn and stable in Middletown. The inaugural trip was in August 1888, borrowing a horse car from the original ANUAA and CC. It's like a community effort, really.
It definitely had that feel. And soon after, in August, their own Pullman cars arrived, and regular service began with mules. This sets the stage for the next big leap, the transition from pure horse cars to a mix, introducing what they called steam dummies.
The steam dummy era, 1889 to 1895. This is where things start to get really interesting, pushing the boundaries of technology for that time. In March 1889, they constructed a 1.5-mile extension through the woods to Shields Branch Creek, and then up to Staunton Street, eventually leading into Upper Alton. This wasn't just about extending the line, it was about improving the speed and efficiency of the service.
And the solution was these steam dummy locomotives. They ordered 2 yellow-painted ones, lettered Middletown Railway, from the Baldwin Locomotive Works for a hefty $7,000. These arrived in June, and then 2 18-foot double-truck enclosed trailer cars from St. Louis Car Company arrived in July. This was a significant upgrade, a move towards something more powerful than just horses.
An inaugural trip carrying 747 passengers on July 11th, and then regular service to Upper Alton on August 11th, with 800 passengers on the first trip. That's huge. That tells you there was real demand, and the steam dummies were delivering. They even installed a loop at Shirtliff College to make turning the equipment easier. They were really optimizing the system.
Absolutely. And the AIA, the Alton Improvement Association, was really consolidating its power. In June 1889, they purchased the original ANUAA and CC for $20,000. This meant they were bringing all these separate efforts under one umbrella, creating a more unified public transport system for Alton. And they quickly built another loop at the foot of Market Street to connect both lines to the Alton Union Depot on the riverfront, which was a critical connection for a river city.
That's smart integration, and the passenger numbers really reflect the success. In its first year, the Middletown line carried 67,000 passengers. By 1890, when Alton's population was just over 10,000, the horse car line alone carried 200,000 passengers, and the steam dummy line carried 164,108. That's incredible ridership for a city of that size, demonstrating the essential role these systems played in daily life.
It's a testament to how crucial public transit was, even back then. People needed to get to work, to the riverfront, to college, to other parts of the city. And these systems, despite their challenges, were providing that lifeline. But of course, as soon as things get going, technology moves on. In December 1892, the company was reorganized, and plans were developed to electrify the lines. This was the next big frontier.
Ah, electrification, the dream of every progressive city at the time. By 1893, the horse car line had 3.25 miles of track, 7 horse cars, and 26 horses. The steam dummy line had 2 steamers and 2 cars. They had established a solid foundation. But, and this is a recurring theme, they lacked the funds to complete those planned extensions and, more importantly, to electrify.
It's like they were always 1 step forward, 2 steps back, or at least 1 step forward and then hit a financial wall. You had all these different railway companies being incorporated around 1890. Bluff City, Alton and North Alton, Alton Consolidated Street Electric, Alton and Suburban Electric, all with grand plans for electric lines. But none of them actually built anything. It's all about the capital.
Exactly. Big dreams, small wallets. But then a new player entered the scene, the Alton Electric Street Railway Company, or AESRC, incorporated in January 1893 with $250,000 of capital. A New York syndicate, led by A.M. Farnham and Joseph F. Porter, came in and bought both the AIA and the ANUAANCC for $100,000. This felt like the big break.
It certainly did. They immediately began construction on a new power plant at 6th and Piazza Streets in April to power these new electric streetcars. Ties were being strung out, foundations poured. It was happening. Until it wasn't. They ran out of funds.
Oh, the heartbreak of ran out of funds. And then the panic of 1893 hit, drying up the money supply entirely. So there they were, without a power plant and without an operating electric streetcar line. It's a classic case of bad timing, isn't it? But they still managed to salvage something, putting one of the powerhouse boilers into a temporary shed to fulfill their city lighting contract. So they were at least generating some power.
They were, a glimmer of hope in the darkness. But the dream of electric streetcars wasn't dead. In March 1892, the Alton Railway and Illuminating Company, or AR&IC, was chartered. And this is where all the pieces finally start to come together. Work on rebuilding and electrifying the lines began in May 1895.
And this is the moment of truth. They made arrangements to lease power, the AIA sold its lines, and then the AR&IC itself was incorporated in July 1895, with another $250,000 of capital. They bought the AESRC, which had failed to launch, for a fraction of its initial capital. It was a true consolidation, gathering all the existing infrastructure and the failed attempts under one new, more stable entity.
It was the ultimate takeover, really. By August 21st, the AIA, the ANUAANCC, and the AESRC were all consolidated into the AR&IC. And by September, this new company had absorbed all of the lighting and street railway properties in the city. After all the stops and starts, the plank tracks, the mules and basements, the steam dummies, and the financial panics, Alton finally had a unified, soon-to-be electrified public transportation system. It's a true testament to persistence and the vision of a connected city.
What an incredible journey for Alton. From those initial horse-drawn carriages struggling up the bluffs, to the ambitious but ultimately doomed steam dummies, and finally the successful consolidation and move towards electrification. It really paints a picture of a city constantly striving for progress, even when faced with significant challenges, both natural and financial. It's a story of innovation, community spirit, and pure stubbornness, you know?
It really is, Luna. And it shows that history isn't always a straight line. It's a messy, winding road with plenty of detours and dead ends before reaching its destination. Alton's public transit journey is a fantastic example of that. So next time you're in Alton, take a moment to imagine those horse cars clattering over those planks, the steam dummies chugging along, and appreciate how far they came.
Absolutely. A huge thanks to everyone for joining us on this fascinating trip through Alton's transportation history. We hope you've enjoyed learning about the Bluff City's pioneering spirit. Until next time, keep exploring those hidden histories.
Thanks for tuning in, everyone. We'll catch you on the next Mysteries in the Dark podcast episode of Prairie Paths and Urban Pasts.